Demi Moore's latest film, The Substance, has been creating a stir worldwide.
You tackle some really important topics, obviously. Beauty standards, aging in Hollywood, the violence and harshness we can have against ourselves.
But Demi had been through it before.
Everybody knows that Demi Moore likes the younger dudes.
So when your mom married Ashton, the thing was, you used to have posters of Ashton.
Totally did.
Was that not the weirdest thing for you? That you were like, that's someone that you were basically fantasizing about, and then all of a sudden he moves in with your mom.
When I met Ashton, it almost felt like a do-over, like I could just go back in time and experience what it was like to be young with him.
Ashton Kutcher cheated on Demi Moore with a 21-year-old he met in a bowling alley.
I felt that it was clearly my fault.
Is an ambulance on the way?
I was there with 911, panicking.
My daughter terrified that she was going to see me die right in front of her. When I found myself engaged to my soulmate and expecting his child at 42, I felt like the luckiest girl in the world. Almost 6 months into my pregnancy, right at the moment when we were going to start telling everyone, we went to the doctor's office.
And you said you will never forget the look on the doctor's face.
You could see his dread because it was unquestionable, because there was no heartbeat. The guilt that I felt that it was clearly my fault was just enormous.
Demi couldn't handle that she couldn't have another baby at age 42.
I really lost sight of everything that was right in front of me, which is the family I had.
You had always chosen us. You had always put us first. But when she wanted to have another baby, and then there was so much focus on that, it was like, oh, well, we're not enough.
And Ashton was handling his grief in a very different way.
Ashton Kutcher caught cheating the night before his and Demi's wedding anniversary.
You got a Google alert?
Yes.
What did you say to him?
I asked if it was true, and he admitted it right away. I felt like I could barely take a breath.
And that's when the relapse happened.
Yes, I opened that door to drinking after almost 20 years. I wanted to be something other than who I am.
Demi tried to drown her pain instead of facing it. But just 2 months later, a leaked 911 call blew everything up.
Is an ambulance on the way?
Is she breathing normally?
No, not so normal, but more sort of shaking.
Everyone else was witnessing my body flailing. My daughter terrified that she was going to see me die right in front of her.
I was there in the other room with 911, panicking, and I took her to rehab on the plane, which was the scariest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
As Demi refused to take responsibility for herself, Bruce and their daughters had to cut her off.
Can you explain why you guys weren't talking to your mom for 3 years?
I just knew that I was scared and that she was unsafe. It was like the sun went down and like a monster came.
You called going away to treatment camp.
It was not the mom that we had grown up with.
I felt villainized by my family. I was angry that my girls weren't showing me any compassion and that Bruce refused to intercede.
Demi is being very needy, and the girls are tired of it. They want a mother, not a little sister. The girls have cut off all contact with Demi.
Demi was living her worst nightmare, putting her daughters through the same thing her mom had done to her.
Her mother and father both battle alcoholism. She's 12 when her mother first attempts suicide.
I remember using my fingers, the small fingers of a child, to dig the pills my mother had tried to swallow out of her mouth.
And it wasn't the last time.
No, there was many, many times.
You said your childhood
was done. Being a mom was the one thing I felt sure I was truly successful at in life. But how successful could I be when not one of my children would speak to me? I knew I had a choice. I could die alone, or I could really ask, how did I get here? And have the courage to face the answers.
I really had to first do a lot of healing and exploration through myself.
I was always just trying to keep going and prove that it was okay that I was here, that it was worth me being born. And there's no way that you can stop and be present and really experience life when you're running in a way that's a fear.
Demi was finally the version of herself that Bruce and their daughters saw all along.
What's your prayer for them and to them?
My hope is that in understanding me, that they would better understand themselves and love themselves
everything I do. It's for my daughters, for my daughter's daughter.
Demi Moore's daughters are celebrating their mother's historic Golden Globes win.
And so today, I celebrate this as a marker of my wholeness and of the love that is driving me in those moments when we don't think we're smart enough or pretty enough or skinny enough or successful enough. You can know the value of your worth if you just put down the measuring stick. It's about not wasting time focusing on all that you're not when you could be celebrating all that you are.